Record. So we're going to learn Netivot Shalom Shemot Parashat Teruma. The page is Resh Zayin, Raz. Raz in Hebrew, it's secret. So, Ikar Shechina Batachtonim Aita. Like, Ikar Shechina, the main part of the Shechina were in the lower one. במדרש שיר השירים על הפסוק, באתי לגני אחותי חלה, right? באתי לגן, אין כתיב כאן, אלא לגני. So it says, right, באתי לגני, I came to my garden. It could say, I came to the garden, but it says, no, my garden, right? So what is לגני? למקום שייך עיקרי מתחילה, it's like the main place from the beginning. The עיקר שכינה, and the main part of the שכינה was in the lower one. הוא הדבר ראשית רבה, right? And it says, right, so in the Gan Eden, וישמעו את כל השם אלוקים מתהלך בגן, right? So they heard the voice of Hashem walking in the garden. Right? So חטא אדם הראשון, when first man, Adam, was eating from the forbidden fruit, right? That was the first sin. נסתלקה השכינה לרקיע הראשון. So like the heaven, that the Shechina that were at that place at the time, moved up to the first heaven, first sky. Chata Kain, right? They were kicked out from Gan Eden, and then we had the first murder between two brothers. So Chata Kain, Kain did the sin, right? So the Shechina moved up to the second skies. Chata Enosh, right? There was another one. Avodah Zarah, right? Nistalka l'rakei hashlishi. It moved up to the third skies. Chata Dor HaMabul. Then we had the generation of the flood. They sinned, right? So you understand the concept, right? You understand where it's going to.
Giora, can you mute it?
Who?
The whole thing. Can you mute the guests because it's a lot of noise?
Yeah, I muted everyone, including you. Okay, cool. So you understand where it is going to, right? So the flood, the generation of the flood, they sinned. The Shechina went up to the fourth. Chata Dor HaMigdal, right? Then we have the Tower of Babylon, right? The Shechina moved up to the fifth. Chatu Anshe Sdom, right? The people of Sdom and Gomorrah move up to the sixth skies, right? Chatu HaMitzriim, to the Egyptian in the time of Avram Avinu, they did the sins. So the Shechina went all the way up to the seventh heaven, right? You understand what's going on here? Every time when there was a sin, like a significant one, the Shechina was like kicked out, going up and up. Actually, it's like spiritually the Shechina is going up, but it's getting away from our planet, from the lower level, which is started actually here. So it says, in Kenegdan, so opposite to these seven skies, Amdu Shivat Tzadikim, we have the seven righteous people, right, our forefather, and they bring them back to earth. So Zacha Avraham have the merit, and he bring the Shechina from the 7 to the 6. Yitzchak from the 6 to the 5th. Yaakov 5th to the 4th, right? Amad Levite, right? 4th to 3rd. Kehat, again, it's from the same family of the Levim and the Kohanim, right? The one that were working in the Mishkan. Kehat from 3rd to 2nd, and Amram Orida Misheni Lechad. So Amram bring it back from the second one to first. Still, it's in the first sky, right, which is closer. Amad Moshe, and our Moshe Rabbeinu, right, Orida La'aretz, bring it back to earth, to the planet, to here, to the ground. The Eimat, right? שרת שכינה עליה ביום שהוקם משכן, right? שנאמר, and it says, ויהי ביום חלות משה להקים את המשכן, when he actually finished building up the Mishkan, then the Shechina returned to the Tachtonim, as it was in the first. And this is what it says, באתי לגני אחותי חלה, I came to my garden. ויש לומר, and we can understand and learn it in a way that is hinted on the דרך העבודה, again, on the way of the Hasidut. והנה, יש שני דרכים בעבודת הקודש. There are like two paths, or main paths, in עבודת הקודש. One path is for the Yechidei Segula, the people that are really unique. I don't know, one out of few billions maybe. Really unique, that they've been elevated into to the level of Kodesh HaKodashim, when they're really shaking off this world from themselves, that they don't have any relevancy anymore, nothing is related to this world. and they are in the same context of Mi Ya'aleh Be'ar Hashem, who is going to climb the mountain of Hashem, Umi Yakum, and who is going to rise in the place of His holiness, because they have been elevated, right? And in order for them to reach that type of level, they need to sanctify and make themselves holy, the entire body, in the same like way of the Kodesh HaKodashim, right? As it says, Naki Kapayim, like his hands should be clean. Everything that they do is pure and clean from anything, no sin, nothing, and their heart is pure. Their soul is refined. It doesn't have anything that is doing like to deceiving or false swearing. Their mouth is pure, right? And we know some tzaddikim, we had in our generation these types of tzaddikim, right? And because their work is in the mountain of Hashem, they're worshipping Hashem Yitbarach, even when the Shekhinah was going all the way up to the seventh sky, because they themselves elevated themselves to more or less that level. And we have like so many stories of people, whatever, we know tzaddikim, we know names, right? Like if the recent one, I don't know, the Stipler, Rabbi Steinman, Rabbi Chaim Kanievsky, Chafetz Chaim, the Rambam, right? So what, Mordechai?
I don't know. There was just still noise. Maybe it's coming from your computer. Like something's moving like this.
I don't know. Could be, maybe. You need to live with that. You need to get used to
Okay,
it.
no, it's hard to hear you. Okay.
Thank you. No, because it's quiet. Maybe I'll mute and unmute myself. I don't know. If it will help. No, really, maybe it will help. I don't know.
I know. Go ahead.
Okay,
Sorry.
cool. Okay, so we
I
know.
told you drank so much that you got a headache still.
Okay, so we know some of these tzaddikim, right? We have the names, right? You know, so that was one path, that people are really shaking everything from this world from themselves. We know, you know, from story about tzaddikim that they never touched, I don't know, a coin or money before. Like they were like clueless on that thing. Everybody was taking care. They were all Torah. And there was another path of serving Hashem, working, right? Which is belong more to the simple people, that they are serving Hashem by living in this world. That everything that they do in this world is actually doing it for nachat ruach l'Hashem Yitbarach, to please Hashem. And before, in the same simple people, right? It's not simple people at all, right? And before any action they do, they weigh, will it making Hashem happy or not, right? That's not simple thing. To every before everything you do, doesn't matter. You apply for a job, you go to the garbage to throw the garbage. You say, okay, Hashem will be happy with what I'm doing or not. I want to buy shoes. Hashem will be happy from this type of shoes or not. Everything. That's not simple people. And we see here that our holy fathers, Ayu Kodesh HaKodashim, right? They were like the holiest of the holiest. And all their avoda, again, that was in the same concept or context of Mi Ya'aleh Be'ar Hashem, who will climb to the mountain of Hashem, right? And therefore they didn't have any mania. Nothing was postponing them or preventing them, because the Shekhinah went up to the seventh sky, because their slavery to Hashem, the worshipping of Hashem, they also were like very high, le'ela ve'leila, very pure. Also when we left Egypt, right? It says, we have Hashem was elevating us during the time when we left Egypt to the seventh sky, right? And we had the cloud, we had the fire, we had everything, right? But that was again a free gift, a freebie, right? We didn't have the merit. So that was calling itaruta dil ela, like waking in up from above, from heaven. But after that, it says, right, on the third month, when they came to Mount Sinai, Ktivu Moshe alayla Elokim, right? The Moshe was going up to Hashem. What does it mean? That Moshe, he assumed, right, he have a zvara, להמשיך דרך העבודה בבחינת עלה לאלוקים, that he assumed that this is the way to continue the worshiping Hashem by going up again to Hashem, which means in a very high level of slavery, to be elevated. ויקרא אליו השם מן ההר, right? But Hashem was calling him from the mountain, so Hashem like hinting Moshe because that was the divine will that the Shekhinah will be actually here in this world. For example, I know actually it's not so far away. Shavuot, roughly it is what 50 days plus 30, yeah, like I don't know, like 70 something days. You don't have to tell the number, Lee. It's roughly between 70 to 90 days, I think. So Shavuot, we all know that one of the reasons why we're staying awake at night and we're learning is because before Kabbalat Torah, Bnei Israel were falling asleep, and Moshe needed to wake them up. Okay, so I read in the book, I think from Admor Mibiale. I'm not sure if he's bringing it from the Baal Shem Tov Hakadosh or not, but he said, "Oh, really? They really fall asleep? I mean, tomorrow if we have a flight to Israel, nobody will sleep well that night. So just before receiving the Torah, they fall asleep. So no. So what was happening there? Bnei Israel, they thought that because the Torah is such a spiritual thing, it's impossible to get it here in this world. So they didn't really went to sleep. They went to sleep in order for the neshama to go up to a spiritual world, and there they could be able to receive the Torah. But Moshe wake them up. It means that Moshe was bringing them down to this world. Said, no. You got it totally wrong. Yes, the Torah is very spiritual, of course, but the whole point of the Torah is to handle it here in this world, not in Shamayim. Shamayim, it's all perfect. Here with all the test and all the nisyonot and everything. So this is what Moshe here, it says in Netivot Shalom that Moshe wanted to continue that before receiving the Torah, to continue serving Hashem on a more elevated way, in a spiritual way. But Hashem told him, no, I want the Shekhinah to be dwell here. Bnei Israel should serve Hashem also when they're dealing with the day-to-day activity. And that's the purpose of the creation, because Hashem wanted to come here, to be here. Because in heaven, right, yeshnam harbe malachim v'srafim, right, they have the angel, the serpent, no free will, more or less. They do what Hashem tell them to do, right? Everything there works perfectly. But the main nachat ruach, main thing that will please Hashem will be from worshiping Him and serving Him here in this world. From all of this mundane life and all the trouble that we have and all the how you said, these boring things of day to go shopping, working, taking out the garbage, whatever. Serving Hashem out of this, that will actually elevate us, right? To Avato Yitbarach. וזהו מאן דכתוב, and that's why it says, וירד השם אל הר סיני, and Hashem came down to the Mount Sinai. And that actually was fulfilling Hashem's will, that the Shekhinah came down. And after Ma'amad Har Sinai, we have the commandment, Vasu li mikdash, right? Build me the temple, v'shachanti betocham, and I will dwell within you, because that's the main will of Hashem, that Hashem wanted to have a place here. And that was still not fulfilled during the Ma'amad Har Sinai, when we were receiving the Torah. Because after that, the Shekhinah went back again. But that's why Hashem commanded us, build me mikdash, v'shachanti betocham. I know in the Tachtonim, in the lower level world, right? And that's the Ikar, that's the main Nachat Ruach, pleasing Hashem, when a Jew is serving Hashem in all of this matter of the world, which is, it's a higher will, right, from Hashem, more than what the angel and the serpents are doing, because they don't have evil inclination. And this is what I said, just says on the Pasuk, right? Again, Shir HaShirim, Ba'atara she'itra lo imo be'or chatunato v'simchat libo, right, in the crown that his mother gave him in the day of his wedding, in the day of his happiness in his heart. So what is the day of the wedding? This is Matan Torah. U'biyom simchat libo, the day when his heart was full of joy, that was the Binyan Bet HaMikdash. So biyom chatunato ze Matan Torah. So the day of the wedding, it's when we receive the Torah, because indeed the Shekhinah came down to this lower level world, but still they were not 100% fulfilling, right, in perfection, Hashem will, because He wanted to have a place here. And after receiving the Torah, like the Shekhinah went back to heaven, left. It was temporarily. It came down. We saw the revelation. We got the Torah. We got the commandment, etc., etc. Shekhinah went back, but only when we build the Bet HaMikdash or the Mishkan, right? that was considered to be as the day of his heart filled with pleasure and enjoyment, because then Hashem will actually be fulfilling perfect. And that was the main of his happiness, because the main thing of the Nisuim is bringing the Kala to his house. Okay? But still, right? Al derech ze mamad Har Sinai. So receiving the Torah was the Nisuim. But the Yom Simchat Libo nitkaim bebinyan Beit HaMikdash, when he actually was building the house of the Beit HaMikdash. Then he were actually bringing it to his house, and then it was building the Mikdash, and then it could dwell within us. This is what it says in the day when Moshe was building up, establishing the Mishkan. That was the day when the main thing was actually fulfilled in Hashem, when he was creating the world. ואז נאמר, then it says, וכבוד השם מלא את המשכן, right? That the honor of Hashem was filling up the entire Mishkan, and Moshe couldn't come to Oel HaMoed. Why? There was no room, right? עד אשר ויקרא אליו השם, until Hashem was calling Moshe. And that was like in the Kala coming to the house of the Chatan, הבא לביתו, right? צריכה להיות מצידו יתברך, right? That the Kala will not come by herself. The Chatan need to call her. ולכך לא יכול משה לבוא למשכן, and that's why Moshe was waiting. And according to that, יש לומר, we could say, man דאית ברש"י, when Rashi explained on the pasuk, ועשו למקדש ועשו לשמי, do it for my name. It seems to be like it's a question. Why we need to say here especially that it should be for Hashem more than the other mitzvot? All the mitzvot we need to do to Hashem, for Hashem. But the meaning of the tzivui, the commandment, ועשו לי לשמי, doing it for my name, again, that was for the house of Hashem. כדי שיוכלו לך להתקיים בו בבחינה הבאה ביתו. It's like building house to Hashem. So Hashem will be able to call us again. We don't have a house. Hashem doesn't have a house. How can he call us? Right? We have houses, we have homes, whatever, but Hashem doesn't have here in this world anymore. It's destroyed. So that's why it said, build a house for me, so I will be able to call you. Right? So you need to be lechatchila, the house of Hashem. וכן בציווי, also in the commandment, right? ויקחו לי תרומה, כתיב לי לשמי, right? Take the donation for me, for my name. So לכתחילה, in the beginning, right? That this is how it should be in first place. They will take it for his house. ועל ידי זה תתקיים תכלית רצון השם. And again, we will fulfill Hashem's will, building up the Mishkan with the donation that coming from our heart to his name. That's the thing, as it says, right? Bati legani achoti chala, I come to my garden. That was the first place what was supposed to be. Another very beautiful thing that I learned today is about why the parashat of Mishpatim and Teruma are close to each other, right? We know that all the parashiot, there is something that is very common, and the reason why they come before or after a parasha. So, for example, the Teruma, right? It's like Moshe and Aaron, they could identify if somebody was giving the Teruma really with a clean heart. Because giving a Teruma, it's like we're giving because we want to benefit. We want to benefit. I give a Teruma to the shul or whatever, and I want to see my name on a plaque somewhere, right? So we're going to have a benefit. So it has to be coming from a clean heart, and Moshe and Aaron know. So the Mishpatim, for example, is to make sure that the person will have a clean money, not from stealing, not from doing anything, because, a thief, absurd as it sounds, right? The thief can say to Hashem, please, make me to succeed in my stealing, and I promise I'll give you 50% back to the shul. I will donate the money, right? So that's why the Mishpatim coming before Teruma, to make sure that the person really will know and understand what to do, what not to do, so the money will be clean. So then, really, when he's bringing the Teruma, it will be a clean Teruma. Anyway, כמו שלכלל ישראל נאמר הציווי, right? Also to the same way, when the Klal, the nation, we had this ציווי, the commandment, build me a מקדש ושכנתי בתוכם, the same way it is being told to each individual, right? This is how you should do. And Rashi explained for the generations. So, okay, if we already build the Beit HaMikdash, then what? Then we can retire? No. So he said here, each and every generation, a Jew is commandment to build up a Mikdash. that he should make his body, sanctified his body, a place for the Shekhinah to dwell. Like in the said Betocham, right? In each and one of you. So the same way that we explained that in the Bet HaMikdash, right? We learned that on Monday we have the Tachtim, Shneim V'Shlishim, like the lower one, the middle one, the upper one, right? We have the altar that was outside, then we have the Heichal, and then the Kodesh HaKodashim. They're all places that they have a certain type of level of Kedusha, which the peak is the Kodesh HaKodashim. Right? So the same way we said that the body of a person, we have the brain. The brain is like the Kodesh HaKodashim. So we need to enslave our deot and the ashkafot for Hashem, to serve Hashem. And the heart, right, is against like the heichal, that we have all the desires and all the wishes and everything. Again, that should be for Hashem. And then the body itself, right, it said here the lower part of the body, that's the place of like really what we do in the action. They are like opposite or against or equivalent to the mizbeach hachitzon, to the altar when you bring all the korbanot, when you have the fire, right? So a fire can be chas v'chalil, a fire of evil inclination. But over there, it should be a fire that will never be put down. And that fire should be a holy fire, Esh Kodesh, that will burn and consume all the desires. And that's the main thing of what Hashem wanted to have here in this world, right? More in the lower one, because that's Hashem will. And that will be fulfilled, right? More and more by giving all our desires or burning our desire and getting closer to Hashem and learning Torah and doing mitzvot, etc., bringing our Mesirut Nefesh. Then we're actually turning the fire of evil inclination to a holy fire. Right? In the same word, it says in the Klalut, in the same rule that, right? Beklalut ha'olam, al yedei chatel yisrael shechina ad shalta l'rakei hashvi. So the same way we learned a few minutes ago that every time when a generation did a significant sin, they were like pushing the Shekhinah to go up and further and further and further. So the same way, it's also an individual. When Chas v'Chalila, we do a sin, an individual is doing a sin, then the Shekhinah is getting further and further from him. But when he's doing a tikkun, when he's doing a tshuva, right, and he's fixing the blemishes and everything, then the Shekhinah will come back and again and again and again to be closer to him. And this is the mitzvah of building me a mikdash, sanctified your body, and I will dwell within. And according to that, it's also now explained in Ma'amar HaKatuv in Tehillim, right? We have, it's a nice song, I'm not going to sing now. Achat shalti me'et Hashem. One thing I was asking from Hashem, right? Ota avakesh, this is what I'm requesting. Dwelling and sitting in the house of Hashem all my life. So he said, how is it possible? Shivti b'bet Hashem kol yemei. How would it be like sitting in the house of Hashem all my life? Like somebody can go to the Bet HaMikdash, let's say he's just in the Azara. So he will sit over there all his life, 80 years. And it's impossible, right? They need to go to take a shower, to eat, pay his bill, whatever, right? But what's the kavana? The kavana that his house will be the house of Hashem. That his house will be a house when they fulfilling Hashem's will. The house when they bringing the korbanot, right, sacrifices, and the fire, the holy fire will be there all the time. For example, our table is like an altar. This is like the mizbeach and like the mizbeach. When we're eating, it's like the korbanot. So to make our house like a house of Hashem, and by doing that, then I will be sitting in the house of Hashem all my life. Everywhere I go, that will be the house of Hashem. Right, a from house, that will be the house of Hashem. Because this is what Hashem say. Yeah, build me a mikdash and everything, like a big one. That's for the klal, that's for the nation. But each individual should have his house of Hashem. And then I will be sitting in the house of Hashem all my life. Because that's the divine will, Hashem's will, that Hashem wants to have a room here, a place in the lower world. And each one of us, right, all the Jews are commanded to do that. It's a huge obligation. So Bezrat Hashem, I hope that, we will be able to really to have the Shekhinah dwelling with us in our houses, our homes, whatever that will be soon, I hope, in Yerushalayim, or maybe in Herzliya Pituach, maybe in Nahariya, whatever in Eretz Israel, maybe a house in Yerushalayim, a summer house on the Carmel, a winter house in Eilat,
Amen.
Right? So, and we'll see the Mashiach, we'll have learned Torah and everything. And I wish you all a great Shabbos, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you very much for listening.
Possible.
Shabbat.